451 games, 363 goals, 272 assists. No, this isn't a team stat. These jaw-dropping numbers belong to just 3 men. Not just any 3, but the most lethal trio football has ever witnessed. Lionel Messi, Luis Suárez, and Neymar, legendary MSN. This unstoppable South American storm tore through Europe's elite with ease, leaving defenders in shambles and fans in awe. In just 3 magical years, they redefined football as we knew it, collecting 7 trophies, including that historic 2015 treble. But to truly understand how devastating this trio was, we have to rewind to where the legend began.
Pedigree champions again. There are Barcelona hands on the European Cup at Wembley once more. Revealed when they beat Real Madrid.
Barcelona hit a new high in 2011, lifting the Champions League in one of the most dominant displays the world had ever seen. But after that golden moment, things slowly started to unravel. While Lionel Messi went on a record-breaking tear, scoring an absurd 91 goals in the 2012 calendar year, the cracks in the team were beginning to show. That season, they watched Real Madrid break records for most wins in a single La Liga campaign, and in Europe, it all came crashing down with a brutal semi-final exit to Chelsea. Then came 2013, and with it, one of the darkest nights in club history. Barcelona were completely dismantled, losing 7-0 on aggregate to Bayern Munich. At this point, the painful truth was clear. Messi couldn't carry the club alone anymore. After Pep Guardiola's departure in 2012, Barca went through coaches. First, Tito Vilanova, whose tragic illness shocked the footballing world. Then Gerardo Martino, who oversaw the arrival of what would be half of the solution. The dazzling Brazilian Neymar Jr. His €57 million signing was headline news, and controversy soon followed. Whispers of hidden offshore payments to Neymar's father and agents stirred media storms. Still, Barcelona beat out Real Madrid and Bayern to land him. But even with Neymar, Barca crashed out of the Champions League in the quarters and watched as their city rivals, Atletico Madrid, won La Liga, while Real Madrid lifted the Champions League again. Barca had fallen short. Something was still missing, and Luis Enrique, now at the helm, was ready to risk it all, even if it meant waiting 3 months into the season to find the final piece of the puzzle. Luis Suárez admired Lionel Messi deeply. In one of his early interviews after joining Barcelona, Suárez didn't hesitate to call Messi the best player in the world, placing Neymar right behind him at number 2. And what followed next on the pitch proved exactly why. In their very first season together, as the iconic MSN trio, Suárez scored 25 goals fewer than Neymar's 39 and Messi's 58. But that never told the full story. Suárez wasn't just a goalscorer. He was the engine that kept the machine fluid and efficient. He dropped deep, created space, provided 21 assists, and played with a level of selflessness rarely seen in strikers. He wasn't there for personnel glory. He was there to win and to create. Messi, too, was not just a scorer. Despite bagging an unbelievable 58 goals, he also registered the most assists among the trio, showcasing his ability to lead from the front while still feeding the team. But what truly made MSN historic wasn't just their stats, it was their tactical revolution. They destroyed traditional formations and shattered defensive lines across Europe. Watch any of their goals, especially that one against Arsenal in the Champions League, and you'll see a masterclass in positional fluidity. Messi, Neymar, and Suárez constantly switched roles mid-play. Messi would drift wide. Neymar would cut inside. Suárez would drop into midfield, and every move was unpredictable. In just 451 games, they combined for a staggering 363 goals and 272 assists. That's more goal contributions than games played. Every 62.7 minutes, one of them either scored or assisted. And in every season they played together, each had a turn being the standout. Messi in 2014-15 with his explosive form, Neymar's career-best 39 goals that same year, and Suárez in 2015-16, who not only won La Liga's Pichichi Golden Boot, but also the European Golden Shoe. The balance was near perfect. Individual brilliance fueled by collective understanding. Their dominance forced elite clubs across Europe to rethink their tactics. Managers scrambled to solve the riddle. Real Madrid, Atletico, Juventus, Manchester City, none of them were spared. Even Diego Simeone's Atletico, a side known for its world-class defending, looked lost. As Joe and Fran once said, against that front three, you don't just defend to win, you defend to survive. Juventus manager Max Allegri admitted the obvious. You don't stop MS on you, just hope they have a bad day. This wasn't just a golden frontline, it was an force. Even Pep Guardiola's Bayern Munich, a team that dominated possession like no other, was forced to go defensive just to avoid damage. Teams across the continent began copying the formula, desperately trying to build their own superheroes. Was the birth of forced duos and fantasy front threes, yet no one matched the magic. The only rival, Real Madrid's BBC, Bale, Benzema, but even they had to live up to the standard MSN had already set. And if one moment ever captured their impact, it was that night at Camp Nou in 2015. Messi put Jerome Boateng, one of the best defenders in the world, in roller skates, leaving him crashing to the turf, before chipping Neuer, the reigning world's best goalkeeper. That one goal, it was more than brilliance. It was a warning to Europe. You can't stop what's coming. You can only watch it happen.
Things are simply natural since he was a child. That is the reason why he's the best in the world and will continue to be this way for a long time.
De sacar ese balón, enfocan al míster volviéndose loco ahí en el banquillo. Disfrutábamos defendiendo, porque sabíamos que era el camino para ganar.
Messi's solo goal against Athletic Club in the 2015 Copa del Rey final wasn't just a highlight, it was a historic moment in football. Dribbling past 4 defenders from the halfway line before rifling it into the net. It was the kind of goal that gets carved into legend, pure genius in motion. But Messi wasn't alone in delivering jaw-dropping moments. Neymar had his own brand of magic. One unforgettable moment still leaves fans speechless. He takes the ball on the spin, dazzles the entire Villarreal defense, and finishes with ice-cold composure before the ball even touches the ground. It was art. Then there was Luis Suárez, the predator, the technician. That volley against Roma, unreal. A quick-fire exchange, perfect body positioning. And boom, he rifles it into the net like it owed him money. This was the essence of the MSN. Moments like these weren't rare, they were expected. They raised the standard of football. Week after week, fans didn't just hope for brilliance, they anticipated it. This trio didn't just play the game, they changed what we thought was possible.
Bilbao have never been relegated from the Primera Division. Something to be admired, I have to say. Well, there's 3 of them right. He's still going. Look at this, Kevin. It's a brilliant run from Messi. Can he go all the way?
Tell me about tiki-taka. Where did the phrase come from, and how do you pronounce it properly?
Tiki-taka, that's something like this. That's how he puts the ball as quick as possible and these sort of things. But it's when we started in Barcelona to do positioning play. It's responsibility of the ball, where you play, how you play. Controlling the ball is the basis of football. In the beginning, that was something where people laughed about, because they didn't understand that it was football, until it had the results and people enjoyed it, people loved it, and now it's a fantastic word.
It was like they reinvented Tiki Kabat with a South American heartbeat. The flair, the rhythm, the fire. MSN didn't just win matches, they danced through them. Suddenly winning wasn't enough. You had to win with style, with magic. You had to leave fans breathless. Every time Barcelona played, it felt like a live performance at a football theater. Dribbles, nutmegs, impossible passes, and outrageous goals. It was electrifying. They turned the game into art, and the world couldn't take its eyes off them. But their influence didn't stop on the pitch, it shook the football economy to its core. Take Neymar's exit in 2017, €222 million. The world record transfer fee wasn't just about his potential. It was a price born out of his brilliance alongside Messi and Suarez. What they achieved together made Neymar worth that much. And he wasn't the only one. Clubs everywhere began searching for the next Neymar, the next Messi, the next Suarez. Atletico Madrid paid €126 million for Joao Felix. Barcelona themselves spent over €100 million each on Dembele and Coutinho, trying to fill the Neymar-shaped hole. It became an arms race to replicate the magic of MSN. But like every great story, this one had to end. Neymar left to forge his own legacy in Paris. And with that, the spell was broken. Barcelona have never truly recovered. The club unraveled year by year. Suarez was pushed out in 2020. Messi, heartbreakingly, walked away in 2021. And behind the scenes, the club's president and boardroom decisions were exposed for reckless spending and shady dealings that dragged Barca into financial chaos. Today, Barcelona is rebuilding again, searching for a new identity. But for the fans, one thing remains crystal clear. Those MSN years were a golden era, a time when football was pure joy, and the world may never see a trio like that again. Rafinha, Lewandowski, and Lamine Yamal. Barcelona's new front line is starting to light up the pitch in a way that brings back memories. They're exciting, dynamic, and yes, they're tearing up records. But as electric as they are, the gold standard hasn't changed. It never will. From 2015 to 2017, Messi, Suarez, Neymar weren't just a trio. They were a phenomenon. A footballing force so dominant, so fluid, and so connected. that everything after them has been held to that impossible benchmark. Yes, we've seen new contenders rise. Liverpool's main Salah and Firmino carved their own legacy. Messi reunited with Neymar and Mbappe in Paris, forming the much-hyped M&M. But let's be honest, none of them touched what MSN had. The chemistry, the dominance, the magic. It was once in a generation. MSN didn't just dominate football, they broke it. They rewrote what we thought was possible in attack. And with every new trio that emerges, one question still echoes: will we ever see anything like them again?